out at all. When we're a $100 million point team and I'm making $7 or $8 million a year, I don't need to. So are you going to be part of the wave now, sharing it while we're still in the game? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if you're not, you're not. That's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to judge you for it. You're just going to be left behind. And if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that too. So let's get into it. I got my message. Who's fired up? Awesome. All right. So listen, big things are coming to this company. Big things are coming. Monday, I'm off to Maui. I know I've been traveling a lot. Mexico, Maui. We're off to Maui for our 16th Hawaii trip in a row with World Financial Group. Man, God is so good. He placed this business in my life 18 years ago, and we've been able to travel the world ever since. But I want to tell you something about our company. Our company has never been more aligned with the top leaders. They've never been more excited, and there's never been bigger things coming in the pipe. And no, you don't need to know what they are yet, because most of you wouldn't qualify for them anyway. So go to work and get your recruiting going, and you'll be a part of it. But this team right here, we're going to the next level. If you've been around the last 72 hours, you probably felt that buzz. Trapper knows. I'm surprised I got that nice introduction from Gary based on my CFT call this morning. He might have been a little upset with me. We kind of had a little serious talk with our CFTs today about when are we going to get serious about our business? When are we going to get serious about our business? Well, we're taking this team in the next 12 to 18 months. We're going from an 8 million revenue team to 30 million points in the next 12 to 18 months. And I've never been more clear on how we're going to do it. I've already put some preparations in place. I put the base shop leaders on notice. The base shop's going to get put on notice next week. All of my leaders are already aligned. Most of my SMDs have already had emergency conversations with their teams. There's meetings that are happening next week. There's retreats that are getting booked. And once we hit that, Colin, guess where we're going? We're going to become a $50 million team. And then by 2027, we're going to be a 9-figure team. Write that down. By 2027, we will be a $100 million company within World Financial Group. $100 million. So what does that mean for you? Well, that means we're going to have 5,000 licenses on our team. The question is, how many of those are going to be yours? We're going to have over 500 people making 6 figures. 300 making $250,000. I'm going to have 20 people making $1 million a year, Don, by the end of 2027. The question is, are you going to be a part of it? Are you going to be one of those $1 million earners? Are you going to be one of those $250,000 earners? Are you going to be one of those 500 6-figure earners? Or are you still not getting person recruits? Are you still getting like 8 directs a year? Trying to lead your base shop, not person recruiting, not getting wide. If you want to be a part of this, you got to make some decisions. Daniel Fombo added 1,001 licenses in January. He added 1,000 licenses in January. 6 years ago, he was signing his code. Actually, he's at $7 million of income in 6 years. He's got 1,000 licenses in January, making $900,000 a month. The reason I tell you that is not to make myself feel bad or you feel bad, but it's to show you what's possible. Write this down, this is a new era. This is a new era. What didn't happen the last 10 years doesn't matter anymore. If you're here today and you just started, or it's your first training, welcome. If you're just in licensing and you're in ethics, awesome. What a great time to be starting. If you've been around 5-6 years, you better not be moping around the office like your best friend died, like you missed it. We haven't even found our biggest players yet. We haven't even found our biggest recruits yet. You watch the next 3 years, I'm going to find myself a Daniel Fombo. You watch. I'm going to find our first Daniel Fombo. He's a metaphor. It doesn't have to be the name Daniel, last name Fombo. We're going to find that. Because when the vision is there, the people appear. It happens every single time. Write this down. Big has no place in small. But small has a place in big. Big has no place in small. But small has a place in big. If you're thinking small, there's no room for big. You got small recruiting numbers, there's no room to recruit an MLE. Ed told me a long time ago, he goes, 99% WFG agents have already recruited a Raja Dhaliwal. They've already found an Ed Milet. They've already found a Daniel Fombo. But because they're small thinking, that person quits before they start. Do you ever think about how many $1 million earners we go through every year that end up quitting before they make $1 million because of how we think? Your team and your identity of your team is a direct reflection of how you're thinking. This is a thinking business. This is a mindset business. This is a communication business. That's why I love the game. And I hope you believe this is the new era. Listen, the $100,000 ring, the new $100,000 ring is the new $1 million ring. Hey, in 1995, $100,000 a year was a lot of money. Not only has inflation completely killed us, we're also in a hyperbolic model. Not only is $100,000 actually just like $250,000, but making $100,000 here is like making $1 million. There's going to be more $1 million rings this year than there were $100,000 rings 10 years ago. Write that down. There's going to be more $1 million rings this year than the company issued $100,000 rings 10 years ago. There's going to be more senior executive vice chairmen this year than there were SMD promotions in 2013. Senior executive vice chairman is the new senior marketing director in WFG. People are becoming senior executive vice chairmen in 48 months of starting. Daniel Fombo is going to have 10 SEVCs this year, his 7th year in the business. It took me 10 years to have 300 careners. But I'm not moping around, Gary, with my small income compared to where it's going to be. I'm fired up for the new era. And I'm fired up because I already got a person to recruit this month who's already been started up, who's excited. I got my other superstar direct here, already licensed, right? I got Chloe just had a baby, my other licensed direct. I got Josh down in Phoenix, makes $400,000 a year. He's licensed. His new recruit just got licensed. I got 4 or 5 more directs to do this month just so I can get on a Zoom call with my base shop and have authority to lead them. You have no authority to lead your team if you aren't in the game. Does that make sense? You gotta be in the game. You gotta be getting wide. You can't just be showing up. Anybody can show up, but are you doing the work? So I want to go through a few mindsets that might help you in this new era. First thing I want you to write down is this. What's your recruiting identity in your business? What's your recruiting identity in your business? And what I mean by that is, what's your beliefs around recruiting? See, Eric Olson talked about his beliefs around recruiting is that he believes this is the #1 opportunity in the world for people. And you want to know what? Coming out of that meeting that I was in with him, I believe that too. I believe it too. What's your belief? Is your belief, oh, everybody I recruit quits, and oh, it's so hard, and I don't know anybody, and oh my God, where do I meet people? Are you kidding me? That's your mindset? Right now, in the new era, everybody needs World Financial Group. Everybody needs the products and services that Dave and Amber talk about. Everybody needs an opportunity to be in a good environment, and not necessarily just come in here and make a bunch of money, but to grow as a person, and heal for a bit. And meet some great friends and build some relationships while maybe our family is struggling at home. There's a lot of reasons why people need this. Not just about the money. But what's your recruiting identity? What's your belief? Your personal recruiting numbers are directly tied to your recruiting identity. Directly tied. Your belief in this business is directly tied to your personal recruiting numbers. And you can say you believe in it, and you can say you love it, but if your team's not growing, you don't feel it. You don't feel it. You're not spending enough time on other people. You're spending too much time on yourself. It's all about you and how you're feeling. What about other people? What about the community? What about families out there? The second thought, write this down. Do I enjoy receiving more or giving more? I'm not going to ask your girlfriend this, Trey. What your answer is. I hope you're a giver. Baby 3's on the way, yeah. Listen to me when I say this. Those that enjoy receiving more are capped in their income and their growth because of their mindset. People that love receiving money and receiving things, They're completely capped in their income, their growth, their mindset. They're not going anywhere. They're flat. People that prefer to give in their relationships, people that love relationships, people that love people that love to give freely and openly and endlessly. Guess what happens to them? Boom, on the rise. Trump was telling us a story today in his call. He's just been providing so much value to people, putting this ridiculously good content out on social media that I hope all of you are paying attention to, because he's the best at it in the entire hierarchy, by the way. So I hope you're following him on YouTube. He's talking about how he's just providing so much value for people. They're reaching out like 5-minute voice memos on Instagram. Or is it just all about how much money we're making? How much money someone's going to make me? How much money? What are you doing for me this month, Don? My team sucks. My team's not doing it. What team? I have no team. What team? I have no team. What team? I have no team. Well, that's a really good mindset. I'm sure your team just loves to feel that from you. I'm sure they take a bullet for you. Or are you all about giving and giving and giving and giving? If somebody were to define you, they define you as a giver or a taker? Third thing, do we have expectations of others or do we have expectations of ourselves? Do we have expectations of others or do we have expectations of ourselves? What is our expectations of ourselves? What's our personal accountability in all this? What's our responsibility in our relationships, in our health, in our business? It's on us. It's on us. It's not anybody else's responsibility to get this thing going. It's on you. It's not your teammates' fault that they're not doing anything and you're not winning. It's my fault. 4, do we have fear of loss or faith of growth? Do we have fear of loss or faith of growth? Are we so scared to lose our one teammate? Are we so scared to lose? And we have no faith in growth. This world is full of fear, and more than ever, we're attached to fear. We're so scared to lose. We've been burnt in a relationship, so we're scared to love again. We've been burnt in business by 3 directs, so we're afraid to recruit again. My God, that's fear of loss. Oh, I'm just going to recruit a bunch of people that are going to quit again. That's fear of loss. That's the old story. It doesn't serve us. Next one. I love this one from Raja. Do we exist because of our success? Or does success exist because of us? Do we exist because our success? Or does success exist because of us? Does Colton exist because he's at $150,000 a year? Or does $150,000 a year exist because of him? This thought leads to this is a very powerful thought. This is a very powerful thought. I don't exist because of WFG. WFG exists because of our team. You guys feel the power? You're in control. Everything exists because of you. You don't exist because of it. Think about that. 6th, have I peaked in the past or is my best yet to come? Have I peaked in the past or is my best yet to come? 95% of the players at WFG that have been around a long time, they've already peaked. They peaked. And some of them, when they peaked, they had big teams. And they're reaping the rewards of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to have peaked back in the day. I don't want to be known as someone who peaked in 2015, 2014. I don't want that. And my last thought is this. Are we attached to our income and circumstances? Or are we detached? Are we attached to our income and circumstances, or are we detached? Are we attached or detached? The biggest weakness of the human is that we're attached. We're attached to our current circumstances, and we're attached to our current income. It's why most people struggle with breakthroughs. They're so attached to their current situation. They're attached to their current state. They're, people, they can say it as much as they want. Man, I want to make 200 grand. I want to make 300 grand. But they keep making 120, 130, 150. Why? Because they're attached to that income. They're so afraid to lose it that all they focus is on just making enough to make it. So the biggest weakness is attachment. The biggest strength is detachment. People that are detached from their income, that are detached from their current circumstances, are always the ones that are flying. You can't go from 50 grand a year to 500 grand a year if you're attached to your situation in life. You have to be completely detached if you want to go to the next level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes or yes?
Yes.
And it was Buddha that said that. So as I start to wrap up, I'm going to give you 4 things on how you can start winning immediately in this business at a level that you've maybe never been to. Number 1, you got to dominate in the personal recruiting, personal licensing game. You have to dominate in the personal recruiting, personal licensing game. Eric Colson is just about to promote his 100th direct SMD. He's got 4 MDs that have already qualified. They're sticking around in his base shop till June. Why would you want to leave a base shop that size? They're not taking their promotion. He's going to have 100 directs. This is a personal recruiting, personal licensing game. All your credibility comes from your personal recruiting and personal licensing in this game. The wider, the better. The more directs that are licensed, the better you're going to be. The more authority you're going to have with your team, the better your base shop's going to be, the more energy there's going to be, the better place your base shop is to be recruiting. The better your hierarchy is going to be, your super base, your super team, 5, 10, 20 years from now, your family will reap the fruits of that hard labor. Number 2, the second thing, increase recruiting numbers as a team. This is a recruiting and building era. Hey, 10 years ago, you could get away with not recruiting and not getting left behind. Right now, if you don't want to get left behind, you must be recruiting. Absolutely going wild recruiting the right people. 5 a month is just to almost survive. You're not surviving at 5 recruits a month. You're going backwards. 10, you're holding above water. 20, you're exploding. Get your base shop to 30 or 40, you're on pace to make $500,000 the next 2 years. Just depends on why you're here. But recruiting 0 or 1, you're just hanging on. You're hanging on. And that might be okay for you. The problem is 5 years from now, you're not going to be able to catch back up. You will not be able to catch back up in 5 years from now for a lack of recruiting over the next 5. Does that make sense? Yeah. This is a very, very special era and a short window that we have. It's a short window and it's already closing. This window is already closing for many reasons. And I'm not going to go over that. It's already closing. Number 3, you have to adopt the mindset that every recruit you bring in gets licensed. Every recruit we bring in gets licensed. Here's what I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear, I'm focusing on a 30% licensing ratio. As soon as you say 30%, you're telling the world that only 30 out of 100 are going to get licensed. So know what you do, Joel? You say, the girl that comes in, she's probably just wanted a 70. Subconsciously, we can't be saying that anymore. Everybody we recruit gets licensed. Everybody. Everybody. We're targeting a 100% licensing ratio. Nobody gets recruited unless they're committed to get into licensing right away. Does that make sense? Say yes. Yes. We don't need recruits. Every year we do millions of them in this company. We need licenses. I won't promote an associate in my base shop unless the 3 recruits they do are in licensing. I won't promote. I'm not handing any more 5.530 jackets out unless those 5 recruits every month all are in the course. I'm not giving any recognition for just recruiting anymore. 0. 99% of our recruits should buy the course within the first 48 hours. And if not, last month, we turned away 14 recruits that weren't ready to get into licensing in 48 hours. 14 recruits we turned away. 9 of them were from NABI. And 8 or 9 of them are going to join in March. Because they weren't ready to get into licensing right away. We didn't code them. Sharp people too. Accountants, nurses. You're not ready to get licensed, you're not a part of this team. Does that make sense? We have to get, now, talk to your senior marketing director, whatever they say goes. But I am licensing, we are focused on licensing every single person that we bring into the business, and we're focused on driving big recruiting numbers. Does that make sense? Yes? Yes? Awesome. And the last thing is net licensing. Every single licensed agent should make their first $1,000 in the first 30 days. It's not their fault they're not, it's our fault. It's not their fault they don't make that money, it's our fault. It's weak leadership that leads to low net licensing. It's the leader's fault. Oh, so-and-so got licensed and they're not booking meetings. Well, you mean they spent 100 hours in licensing and $1,000 to get licensed, and you're going to sit here and tell me they haven't made any money in 3 months because they don't want to book appointments? That's a you problem. That's a leader problem. Step up. Have a crucial confrontation. Get aggressive. Get in their face. Dude, you started here to make no money? You're going to spend $2,000 this year for nothing? Should we get your wife on the call and see if she's cool with that? How about we make some calls? Let's go. Let's get fired up. You came here to change your life. You haven't made any money yet, brother. I believe in you. Let's go. Everybody gets licensed, and every license makes $1,000. And that's how we take this thing to 30 million points. It's between 1,000 and 1,500 licenses. We're on pace to be at the end of the year, 800 at the end of this year. And if we license everybody we recruit, which is our mindset, what, 30 million points next year? What part of that is yours? Are you fired up? Yeah. I hope you are. Because your enthusiasm and your energy and your aura and your example is what's going to make or break your team. Your words, they don't really mean much. Anybody can say the right things. How's your energy? How's your enthusiasm? How's your clarity? How's your communication? Where are you going? If I spend the next 20 years right beside you, am I going to end up where I need to end up? Or am I on the wrong team? That's what every new person's asking themselves. Did I get recruited to the wrong team? And if they're on the slightest dream team, they're already on the right team. The question is, do they have the right leader in you? And that's why I love WFG. Because it's not Pauline's fault. It's not Jared's fault. It's not Don's fault. It's me. It's just me. I have to do me. And by doing the right things that I talked about, guess what? Everything else happens. Everything else happens according to plan. We're at where we're at because of decisions that I've made over the past. Now, if I want to ramp it up, I have to make new decisions. That's why this business is the greatest business on the planet, because it's a thinking business. So, as we close out, I want to challenge you. The next 5 years, this company is going from 62,000 licenses to 500,000 licenses. And you can just imagine the things that we're going to be asking for with 500,000 licenses. There's going to be some mega wealth that's going to start from this company. My question is, are you going to be a part of it? Are you obsessed? Are you putting in the work? Or are you showing up at 9:30 in the morning and you leaving at like 1:15 in the afternoon because you've had a really busy day? And if that's you, I'm cool with that. That's not going to be me, right? That's not going to be me. You guys can rely on me. You can count on me. You put all your faith in me. You can count on me to lead by example. I'm going to get personal recruits. I'm going to share those with you. I'm going to lead by example. And I'm going to let all of my results and all of my energy and just my aura lead by example so that I can just help light the path for everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, you guys, have an awesome day. We'll see you in a bit. I'm doing some new calls starting out.
A lot of bottles, a lot of cars, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, made it back. Post my door, here I stand. Better man, stop.